but my dick's still up. Could be drinking in
All right,
a bar
a little question
or
to start the night for you fellas. Do you guys remember the first time you got your big boy feelings? Do you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm saying? That first time you kind of felt that little bit of juice that said, I'm no longer quite a little boy. Maybe I'm a big boy. Not quite a man, but I'm somewhere in between.
I'm assuming you're talking about right.
Speaking of big boy feelings, sorry, Mur's son just tried to interrupt
And
the
that would have
podcast.
been really bad, considering the R rating that this show should have on all platforms. He
Yes.
comes, big boy feelings, and he comes through the curtain. Oh boy!
Yeah, he had a brief stint of FOMA / Hey, I'm in the crowd.
Oh my god!
I'm in the crew.
Oh man, that threw me way off. I'm sweating like profusely through all parts of my body currently. The reason I asked the question, by the way, is I was out in front of a Chick-fil-A, and some young lass is walking by, and she's got shorts on that are cut way too short to even be considered shorts. We're talking about the crease of the canned hams just coming through. And there was a young boy walking across the parking lot, couldn't have been any older than 10, 11 years old, licking his ice cream, and you just saw the feeling come across his body. Stopped mid-lick, eyeballs locked, head starts to turn, and I started to chuckle. I'm like, I understand, young man, because I'm going to get one more glimpse before I start cackling myself.
Miss Parker!
Let me tell you something, man. And if the feeling hadn't come over you at that point, then I don't know when it would have. So when was the first time you boys got your big boy feelings?
That's tough. I saw Elizabeth Shue in The Adventures of Babysitting, and now I don't know if I got full bore fucking man forearmed, but I was certainly like, wow, I like that, and I have never felt that way. Well. That really sealed the deal for me. Now, what you're talking about, stop across traffic in person, I feel as though when I was going to Orioles games, either late Memorial or early Camden, and I went with my brother, my dad, and typically a friend of my dad's, and they weren't hawking, they were appreciating pretty young women. I mean, like women, not teenage girls or anything like that, but women. I can remember a couple times like, damn, they're right. That is beautiful. And probably around this young boy's age, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I can't remember a very specific thing. I mean, it might have been honestly, kind of, fast forwarding a little bit, a couple weeks. It could have been watching Private Resort as a wee lad in my living room, because there's tons of boobies in Private Resort, and I was a young man. I would have to say it was probably around like when Wes is saying, like 9, 10, 11-ish.
Shameless plug, by the way, in 2 weeks, we're going to do a good bad movie review of Private Resort, Alan's movie. Check it out. Next week, we're off. Anyway, continue.
Well, there was just something that it was almost a wholesome moment, but it was wholesome in the most, denigrating way humanly possible. Look, bottom line is, even me looking over at this girl, I don't know how old she was. I just know that every part of her body was defying gravity, and even the creases weren't quite they weren't pleated in. You know what I'm saying? The iron hadn't come across and left its path just yet. And it was just like, wow, this is a beautiful picture. And I'm watching this kid, and I'm just seeing him kind of experience something for the first time. And his dad didn't know what was going on. He's like, hey, what are you doing in the middle of the parking lot? Come on, let's go. Get in there. Your brother's waiting.
You not like ice cream anymore? Come on, look at that damn thing.
But it was almost like this wave of reality punched him back in the face, like, whoa, what just happened? Where was I? Like he had just swallowed like 5 grams of mushrooms, and like the universe had just been revealed to him, and then someone just like ripped him out of the water like a fucking bass with a hook in his mouth. And I understood completely how he was feeling. Because Wes, like you, I can remember watching some of the leading ladies of these movies that we watched. And look, we grew up on like 80s and 90s movies, and there wasn't much being held back there. I can remember seeing Phoebe Cates come out of that swimming pool and not knowing how to handle myself at all, because my brother's 5 years older than me, and Fast Times at Ridgemount High was in the house somewhere at some time. Mm-hmm. But the one time I knew almost everything I think I feel today Now, Clarissa, she didn't explain it all, but man, she explained enough to me.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can remember that we used to go about once every 3 to 4 months to a family dinner, then a movie. And typically, they didn't mind taking us to R-rated movies. But here's a good example. We went and saw The Fugitive
Yeah, okay.
with Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford. If that's not an R-rated movie, it's PG-13. I saw it before I was 13 years old. But I'm pretty sure that the language
Pretty
in
sure
there.
it's a fucking R-rated movie.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, around that same time, maybe even a year or two before that, we went and saw Bram Stoker's Dracula as a family. Now, there's a scene in there where Keanu Reeves is getting raped by 3 vampires that are all nude. And one of them being, is it Monica Bellucci, the chick from The Matrix?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it might be.
She's
It
one
might
of them.
be, yeah.
She's one of them. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm not going to get kicked out of the theater. All right, hunker in. Here we go. Popcorn, cherry Coke, have a boner. I should have put the popcorn right here on my
There we
lap.
go. It's all buttery, ready to go.
Damn, The Fugitive was PG-13. Who knew?
Maybe they don't say the F word.
Maybe
Maybe
not.
you hear like a son of a bitch.
Or maybe
and,
PG-13 was different back then. you
And
know?
I think it was because, again, in case nobody realizes this, my wife actually let William watch Jaws last weekend, and she's like, "Well, there's no language in it." I'm like, "Well, in your defense, it is rated PG. Jaws is a PG movie,
Yeah.
so there might be psychological damage that comes with it, but there's no dirty talk, and there's
Yeah.
no boobs."
No boobies. Yeah.
now you got my mind going here about the significance. I probably thumbed through as a young boy the first, either it was the first or the Playmate of the Year, Anna Nicole Smith, Playboy. I probably went through that thing, I don't know, 500-600 times.
I can remember.
Corner to the pages were
I can
smudged.
remember that. Look, when you're saying this, I can remember every page. I can remember every angle, every pose. So I'm just go ahead, continue as I enjoy the mental image of Anna Nicole Smith in my head.
Tia Carrera from Wayne's World. Yeah, see, Alan's pointing. He ain't saying, he's pointing.
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was drinking.
Yeah, then later, a little bit later on, Salma Hayek and Dawn
Dust Till Dawn.
Dust Till Dawn.
Oh my
yeah.
God, there might not be anything better than that, dude. Like it's
Actually, Salma Hayek in Dogma. She is stripping, but it's not.
no, it's not the same. There's something about a dirty bar glistening with the 400-pound snake around your neck and just the sweat and booze and the.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
Yeah.
I
And
feel
then-
like that boy in the Chick-fil-A parking lot right now.
And then I can also remember walking out for Hell Week during soccer, and it might have been the second round. Hell Week is when you practice a week before school starts in high school soccer, and usually it's just a lot of running. We had 2-a-days, 8 to 10, and then afternoon, like 4 to 6 or 3 to 5. I don't exactly remember. But coming back for the second part of the 2-a-day, and this is circa 99, 2000, and a lot of the girls were then wearing like the tight gym shorts, and me just being like, man, like I'm having a hard time concentrating on the captain trying to tell us about drills and how we should have a hard practice. Oh, it's gonna be a hard practice, buddy. It's gonna be at least semi.
Oh boy, yeah.
Good time.
Well, kudos to this young man.
Yeah, man.
Kudos,
It was like I said, man. It was such a wholesome, innocent moment, but it was the turning point to the not so wholesome, innocent moments that will be forever a part of his life moving forward. And God bless that young lady in her short shorts.
Yeah. How old was she, roughly?
Roughly an age that I wouldn't care to not necessarily guess at. I'll say this.
Okay.
She was 18, sir.
Fair enough.
Barely a morsel, but probably right on that line. She was driving a vehicle, so that means she was licensed by the state of Maryland.
That's still risky.
Yes. She was with a friend, which means she had, there was no pumpkin claws on the license, so we're bumping up a little bit there. Look, bottom line is, she was old enough to wear those shorts.
Okay. And yeah, old enough to catch a 10-year-old who couldn't have given a fuck about soft serve vanilla ice cream on a cone at that
No,
moment.
there was no
That's
soft,
what
there
it's
was no
like.
soft serve about it.
That's-
No, sir.
That was Stone Cold Creamery.
Right.
Oh, middle class souls, everyone. Morale and Foxman. Murad, did you ponder something?
Well, it just started to get me thinking that Stone Cold Steve Austin needs to open like a
Ice
cold,
cream
a
parlor.
Cold Stone Creamery, or at least be their
good point.
pitch man.
Yeah,
Stone Cold
hey man,
Creamery.
I don't. He's probably going for like $1 million for a commercial like that.
But, I mean, that'd be totally worth it. I'd go to fucking Cold Stone Creamery if I had like the broken skull. I don't know, like maybe they got some like raspberry bits in there, maybe like a little bit of like cappuccino ice cream thing going on. You know, like The Rock. You know, getting fucking I don't know something.
Just wrestling
Whiteboarding,
themed ice
baby.
cream.
It's
We should
whiteboarding.
probably do that.
And that's what what we should do when after we pitch. Christ, what is it? Frostios,
Flow cakes, motherfucker.
Okay.
Flow cake. Sorry. I had a moment there. You got me thinking of Anna Nicole and Tia Carrere stuff. After we pitch flow cakes and they deny us, then we go back out and we come back in disguise, dressed up as wrestlers. Hey, I got something for you, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold Creamery. Then
Stone Cold Creamery.
It's a little wordy. We'll have to work on it.
This is something that you guys got me going. I may have told this story. I had a birthday party. I think it was like 9 or 10, and I wanted to see Terminator 2. Okay, my parents at that point were letting me watch R-rated movies under certain guidelines. You know, there couldn't be like I wasn't watching Sliver or in what's the Sharon Stone one where you can see the
Not Indecent Proposal. Basic Instinct.
Basically, yeah, there you go.
Basic Instinct. I wasn't watching that grade of a rated R movie, but they thought Terminator 2, yeah, just a bunch of shit blowing up, Arnold slang lines, maybe a cuss word here and there. And one of the 5 or 6 guys I invited, friends, the parents were like, no, you can't see R-rated movies. Nope. And I was like, all right. I was like, we'll go. No, I said like, well, my compromise was we'll go see Hot Shots. Hot Shots is way worse than Terminator.
100%.
Way worse. It's so bad. It's just just filled with dick and fart humor
Yes.
from beginning
Yep.
to end.
I just watched Terminator 2 the other day, and the only thing that you would maybe be a little reluctant to send a child to see it is like, I don't know, one of the knives goes through one of the step parents' heads, and maybe a guard, and maybe there is a lot. Well, the only honestly, the creepiest part of Terminator 2 is when that guy in the ward like licks her face because she's pretending to be catatonic. Like that gives me the creeps.
That pig.
As
yeah,
an old
yeah.
man now, that gives me the willies. I'm like, shit. Ooh, this is why there's fucking lawsuits against state-run institutions all the goddamn time because of fucking dweebs like this.
Definitely.
Yeah. There's a funny, actual legitimate. I don't know if it's Hot Shots or Hot Shots Part 2, but it's the Charlie Sheen's love interest. Is she Greek, Italian?
Hot.
Hot. Yeah, she did something like
Oh,
one of those
yeah.
two.
And, yeah.
But one of the guys gets cut on his arm, and she like rips apart of her wife beater skimpy shirt that she's wearing, and then one of the guys like, "Ooh, I'm cut too," and she rips off another part. And the guy goes, "Oh, I got cut on my finger. It's a real gusher." She doesn't fall for it at that point. Anyway, well, hey, speaking of getting your big boy pants,
Well done.
pants.
Very good. Nice transition. Much better than last week.
I'm working on it.
We do have a very unique friend or foe for everyone tonight. Now, as everybody heard the news, that old Pat Sajak is he's hanging up his wheel, and old Ryan Seacrest is going to come to do the old spinneroonie for America henceforth.
Yes, I have heard some conflicting opinions about whether or not the show should continue.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think it should continue. I think it's a staple of Americana at this point. I think they need to zhuzh it up just a hair. I think that Ryan Seacrest gets a bad rap, but I think he's the right guy for the job. But I think he needs to decide like what job he wants to keep moving forward, because it seems like Ryan comes in, sparks a lot of interest for a show that's been around for a while, or a theme that's been around for a while, and then just gets bored and he kind of does. He drums up interest.
Does he?
So you're saying
I feel he's like
This
I
is
feel
gonna
like he's
have to
like
be-
Dick Clark now. You know what I mean? Like drums up.
That's what he
interest
wants
for
to be.
He drums up interest for 8 hours a fucking year. Like that's it. I don't give a shit
Yes.
about anything else.
No,
Like,
I actually agree with that. Like he drums up, he gets this interest going, right? Everybody tunes in for like the first episode or two, and then it's like, boo, and then he moves on to the next
and
job,
then somebody else gets it. Yeah,
or they
that's
cancel it completely.
Well,
Regis and Kelly, nobody gave a shit since Regis left, and then Ryan comes in. It's like, oh look, Ryan Seacrest is on here. I bet he's good. And then it's like, yep, he's
I don't
Ryan
know,
Seacrest.
Michael Strahan had a good run there, but I digress. Fucking, you should cancel fucking Wheel of Fortune anyway. It's a garbage show. It's a fucking trash show. I've always hated it. It fucking sucks. Pat Sajak's an asshole. Let his legacy die.
Well, regardless of your opinion in that regard, let's just state fact here. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the show either. If it's on, I might catch a minute of it or so if they're right in the middle of a real good heater or something like that. But it's all about money. What's that? Is some young kid licking ice cream about ready to roll for $1 million? I guess that show makes a lot of money, and I know Pat Sajak leaving you might lose a few viewers, but you're still going to get millions upon millions glued in there. Jeopardy, different circumstances. Al Trebek died, and rather tragically. So I still think there's like a sentimental thing where people carrying over. But I do think this is a good transition. Father Time doesn't slow down. Wheel of Fortune will live on. Ryan Seacrest will host it for a year.
Well, with Ryan Seacrest coming in, you would think maybe they would replace the whole team. But au contraire, Vanna White. Vanna White's there to stay, apparently. And not only does she want to stay, she wants a raise to stay. So, I'll get to the story here in a moment here, but friend or foe, should Vanna White get a raise just because a new host is coming in? The cash cow is leaving. Pat Sajak was making $15 million. Vanna's making $3 million. They're hiring a new host, and now Vanna saying like, "Well, I'm the senior talent now, so I should be the highest paid person on the show." Should she be the highest paid person on the show, friend or foe? I got several questions I'd like to pose to you guys, but Alan, we'll start with this one with you.
Yeah, she should. Cause fuck it, fuck Ryan Seacrest. I mean, fuck the show in general. Again, but yeah, I think so. Like I think people really only watch it. Like Wes said, they might not lose viewership. I think they're gonna lose a good chunk of viewership because like people watched Pat Sajak be a dickhead to fucking average Americans for fucking 25 years.
I found that to be the most intriguing part of the show is that unlike all the other like game show hosts that kind of like just win or all, hell, that was a heck of a try. Pat was like, "Whoa, do you have a nail in your brain? What happened there?
Stupid."
Yeah, like he would call you out. He was a normal guy doing a dumb show, and I appreciated that about Pat.
I guess that's fair. I don't know. I just always thought he was a fucking prick. And I've heard he's from like the Annapolis area. I've heard he's a very major
Savannah Park or something like that.
I've heard he's a major fucking asshole from multiple people. But fucking yeah, Vanna's the talent now, not Seacrest. What's Seacrest gonna fucking do? Seacrest isn't gonna bully fucking Americans like Pat did. So Vanna's clearly the talent here. She's the draw. She is Wheel of Fortune at this point. Fucking honestly, let that bitch host it.
I think Alan's opinion is compromised by his hatred for Pat Sajak.
It might be.
Well, good. Wes, what do you think? Does Vanna deserve a raise? Is $3 million a year not enough to be obsolete?
Well, hold on. So is that an accurate number? She was making $3 a season. Now she wants.
Yeah, Vanna's her last pay increase was 20 years ago. White earns $3 million a year, while Pat Sajak earns 5 times as much, making $15 million a year since 2016. White has not reached a deal with the game show yet, according to Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah, I mean, it's also been 20 fucking years. Give the lady a little inflation bump.
Well, it's just so she's been making this under contract since 2016, but we're going to assume that this isn't like, is this the end of a contract? I didn't catch that part, or is she just mid contract demanding this raise?
Because I think you might I'm going to clarify as well, because what I heard was that Pat Sajak has been getting paid $15 million since 2016.
Yes,
Vanna hasn't had a pay raise in 20 years.
Correct. That
she's been making $3 million since 2003.
I think that's pretty good, to be quite
I
honest
mean,
with
it's
you.
very good. Nobody's disputing that these are fucking small figures. Like,
How's she gonna
they're
live?
rich people. We're swell.
Yeah, I mean,
Middle class holes are talking about millionaires right now.
Bottom line is no, it doesn't say anything about like where she is in her contract, what the contract's for. Maybe the contract was tied to Pat Sajak. Maybe they were a team, and now that there's renegotiations happening for a new host, maybe she's finding this to be the opportunity to finally come in and be like, okay, now we can renegotiate my contract since Pat's leaving. Ha 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 ha. And so yes, so she's continuing to make $3 million unless they make a deal further in the future.
Okay. So now that I have all the figures in front of me, I can make an educated guess. First of all, everyone wants more money. People say, what does it matter when you're that rich? Like, well, those rich people want more money, just like we want more money. But, you think you deserve more money, and that's the bottom line. Now this 20 years thing is certainly odd. You kind of figured, I mean, I could see why she was content then. I can see why she's still content now. Maybe she lives a relatively frugal life. She doesn't spend heavily. Maybe her spouse makes good money. I don't know that much about Vanna White. But yeah, knowing what I know now, that's 100% warranted. Now, if she's like, I want $20 million a year, then you're like, wait a minute, pump the brakes. Let's be reasonable about this. 5 or maybe double that. I think you're legitimately talking about a warranted pay raise, because she might also understand the writing might be on the wall that this thing might not last much more than a season or two without Pat Sajak.
Well, sometimes I wonder maybe she might not last a season or two because she's 66 years old. And so one of my arguments that if I was an executive, okay, so I'm going faux on a Vanna White raise. I think $3 million is fine. I do think that as like the new host comes in, you need a little bit of familiarity. Vanna White sticking around kind of links the two genres of hosts together. I mean, Pat's been there since like the early 80s, like 82, I think is when he started off in there. So I do think you need a little bit of continuity moving forward. But I would say at the beginning in 1982, when old Pat and Vanna started spinning wheels and turning letters, Vanna White was a much different Vanna White 41 years ago now. That was a draw, okay? She was a draw, much like those shortcut shorts in front of a Chick-fil-A was a draw for that young boy. You drew people in. So I would think, hey, Vanna, $3 million seems very nice to me. Otherwise, there's a woman who is literally 40 years younger than you that would love to do nothing 5 nights a week because we don't really need you here. We could literally have Ryan just say, are there any E's? Boom, boom, boom. And they just fucking pop up. And then we don't have to have a lightning round because we didn't have to wait for your old arthritic ass to drag your bunion-riddled heel-wearing feet across the stage to touch a touchscreen that doesn't need touched.
An executive has said that at a meeting already about it. They'd be like, they were like, this bitch. This is ridiculous. But
I feel like Murr read that from some sort of paralegal script that he fucking hacked off the internet in a war room at CBS.
Those were the fucking meeting minutes for something. Like,
that was Chris Greenstein was talking to a bunch of other Schwartzes and Bergs, and that came out of his mouth.
Correct.
Maybe a green with an E.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. She is unnecessary. She's always kind of been unnecessary. Well, I guess when they rotated, she was useful. When they were mechanical, you still needed a human operator. Now,
it does make you wonder. Like, did Vanna like Harvey Weinstein somebody like years and years ago, like to grandfather her own contract in? Like, listen, I'm going to take you in the back room, and you're going to give me everything I want.
Yeah, and she probably got somebody.
Because
I don't know, man. I think honestly, those people became the show. That Pat Sajak and Vanna White, in my opinion, are kind of semi-bigger than Wheel of Fortune. It's like no one's, like bad basketball, like no one's bigger than the game. Yeah, you're right, unless your name's Michael Jordan. But in reality, no one's bigger than the game. These people are bigger than the show. And I had to think, like, why, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they got millions and millions of viewers, raked in, gajillions, probably multi-billions of dollars over the last 30 years for this thing. I don't... Maybe in the last few years, they were like, maybe we got to rotate the talent. Like, who are you talking about? The talent. I don't know what you're talking about. Vanna fucking White, man. All right, she's getting a little old. We're trying to keep young viewers, keep things fresh. But I don't know if that ever happened. I don't. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say, Mer. I disagree. Is what I
That's a
meant.
good point, I guess. I don't know. Who cares, Vanna? You can just shut this fucking show off. It's useless. Why are we even discussing this shit? Fucking trash ass show. They should just put 2 Jeopardies on.
I agree with you, but you know what? I like when Wheel of Fortune's on right before Jeopardy because I feel like it's warming my brain up just to, like, thinking about, like, you know, information style things in a rapid pace. Like, okay, like, I don't know, the dog barks at night. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, 3 dog barks at night. You know, like some dumb shit. They come up with like riddles and phrases now.
Yeah.
I mean, so it does kind of get your brain moving for Jeopardy to kind of come in, but. What I want to know is, Wes, do you remember when Wheel of Fortune used to, like, when they would win a round, it would go to, like, the back room, you know, like, I guess all the leftover prizes from, what's the fucking, come on down.
Price is Right.
Price is Right. Like, all the leftover prizes from Price is Right, and it's like, for $400, you could win yourself this pleated couch.
How early are
Do
we
you remember
talking?
those days?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember when I was a kid, like they would have like the showroom floor. Like when you won the round, like you would have like based on whatever your score was, you'd have the option of like these prizes that you could go home with. They didn't go home with cash back in the day. They just got fucking like
So this is like
donated prizes from a thrift
pre
store.
10,000.
Damn.
Okay.
Oh yeah. This was like. This had to be like moving into the 90s when like Wheel finally like took off for real. Like it was just a bare bones game show.
I believe that. It's still kind of a bare bones game show.
Yeah, but you can walk out of there with like $25,000, $50,000.
That's true. I think you can walk out with
I was gonna
like
say,
fucking
don't
like
one of the
$500,000.
they're like one of those ones that have like bankrupt on both sides, and one of the single wheels has like it's like 100,000 or something like that.
Yeah, one of the ones in the middle is like $100,000. Yeah.
I think there's a million slot on there now, but like that's so
Okay.
freaking hard to get to. But yeah, but anyway, it's just there has been an evolution of this show. I think it's a staple of American entertainment. I have a feeling it'll be gone in 5 years. I don't think Ryan's sticking around, and I don't think there's any chick that would ever come in and stick around for 40 years to do a show for $3 million a year any which way. So in that respect, maybe, yeah, if you want stability, give Vanna the money. But again, I don't think she's worth more than the money she's already making.
Well, no. That's fair. Is that the ultimate question? Does she deserve a raise? No.
Okay, there we go. Yes, that's the question. So
how
the
could you
phone's
compare
savvy.
against other like game show hosts esques? You know what I mean? Not necessarily the host, but the side valet, if you will. Not that I can
Is there
think of.
one currently anywhere that you can think of?
What? What'd
Like
you
a
say?
side valet?
Like another Vanna White is what you're asking?
Yeah, pretty
Ring girls
much.
at UFC.
Nah. Nah. Not really. I think like the only thing I can think of is like I think the modern version is like a DJ. You know what I mean? Like there are some game shows where they got fucking like DJ. They're like, hey, this is my fucking like it's like Ellen except a game show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where she had that guy that killed himself when the
Yeah.
show ended. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, hopefully less depressed DJs on the game shows. But, you know, or, you know, maybe Ellen was just berating him as we come to find out.
No,
I gotta fucking end it.
You know what's crazy about that Ellen story is it sounds like it was just a bunch of unpaid interns who didn't know how show business worked, and that maybe you didn't like stare the star in the eyes and ask her what she wanted on her bagel because you should already fucking know, and they took it to heart. And then meanwhile, this guy who was just like a club DJ whose life was completely turned around by Ellen DeGeneres and became a millionaire, started a family, then lost it all because of fucking unpaid intern decided that their feelings were hurt by the big star and fucking crushed his life. I hope they know his blood is on their hands. And that, my friends, is your friend or foe.
Well, good luck to Mr. Ryan Seacrest. Hope you have a long-lasting career as the host of.
Not true. I don't lump me into that.
Okay, hold on. Here, like you know how we do the celebrity death pool. Let's
Okay.
give it a what's the Wheel of
over-under?
Fortune? The over under on Wheel of Fortune
2
season.
seasons.
Let me ask you this. Okay. Before I answer that, how long do you believe Drew Carey has hosted The Price is Right?
Longer than he should have been allowed to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
it's got to
Okay.
be like 10 to 15 years now, right?
I'm gonna say
see.
13 years. I'm gonna split the difference with Alan.
August 15th, 2007. So we're at the 16-year mark.
Wow.
You know, and
It's crazy.
that's shocking to me. I would have said about a dozen, maybe your baker's dozen or something like that. I knew it was longer than the single digits, but that in and of itself, I think it depends not necessarily on how America accepts Seacrest. I think it depends upon how Ryan Seacrest accepts Wheel of Fortune as his last stop.
That's fair.
Okay, and if he can
100%.
adapt a little bit, it could be his for decades. His to lose.
Jesus, Wes, like you said that like
That's
a man,
actually genius.
like a man on ESPN, like
Yeah.
calling a Super Bowl before the season starts, because that is the exact analysis. That's 100% it. That's 100% it. It's not whether people accept Ryan Seacrest; it's whether Ryan Seacrest accepts Wheel of Fortune. You're 1,000% correct.
You know, don't go into it thinking you're bringing people into the new year. Yeah, I'm here at Times Square. I got 4 scarves on. My lips are barely moving, but my makeup looks great. Let's take it to Sublime. To cover. Sorry, I just think that's the only band I can think of. That's terrible.
I have a
because-
feeling we're just going to see a lot of a lot of vests with jeans. And it's gonna be very fucking Ryan Seacrest, and I like that guy too. So
the
really
thing
nothing
is-
happening there for me.
I think that Ryan Seacrest might be. I mean, I already thought of Ryan Seacrest's like Dateline NBC docuseries, Crestfallen, the Ryan Seacrest story. I think Ryan Seacrest has to come to terms with like he's not as young as he once was, and he needs to find one of these shows to like dig his foxhole in and just say this is where I hold my ground now. This is the line. I hold the line. Is Wheel of Fortune the line? I don't know. I'd like to see them turn it into like the $1 million pyramid. I know they tried to bring it back with Michael Strahan, but Michael Strahan's just not the guy for that. $200,000 pyramid was the greatest show in the history of game shows. It just wasn't done properly by anybody but Dick Clark. And Ryan Seacrest is the Dick Clark. We need the Dick.
We need the crest. We need a dick to meet the crest. All right, so after we get kicked out for Stone Cold Creamery, you then walked in and be like, have you ever thought about the docuseries Crestfallen? So we got work cut out for us.
He's got to plant like a big old bale of
Got a ton of
cocaine in it.
ideas.
We still need to plant a bale of cocaine inside Ryan Seacrest's newly christened dressing room at Wheel of Fortune.
I'll spin the wheel. Oh, God.
He
Come here,
spins it.
Vanna.
Just
Come here,
does a
Vanna.
fucking-
Damn, I'm looking for my opener. Anyway, all right. Let's forget Wheel of Fortune. Let's move to a more Jeopardy-themed segment, one that you learn knowledge, you learn facts, you put it together with a Friday, and we came up with this really unique segment called Fun Fact Friday. You listening, NBC? Eat your fucking heart out. Here we come.
Listen, they're facts, they're fun, and people hear them on Friday. Do you get it? Do you get it?
And we have 2 sponsors.
You're goddamn right we do. 2 sponsors that are medically accurate and scientifically factual. They are the Shin Splints Recovery Group. Hey, pain below the knee, above the ankle, boom. Find some morons. Have the same problem? Go and talk about it. Have some guy that works at a fucking Chuck E. Cheese who came up with some brace that you wear on your ankle. It doesn't help your shins or your knee or your splints. He just talks about it and people believe it and probably bought it off of some sort of PayPal program, and they're available to you on the Facebook. You can also find our other friends, the Flat Earth Science Advocates for Truth. I wish these guys would take off. I thought that these guys would have taken off like an Elon Musk rocket ship, but they didn't. They're sitting there really low in the old enrollment numbers. Somehow Shin Splints beat out Flat Earth, and I'm fascinated by that.
I think people they see Flat Earth and they don't look at the second half of the group name. Like, they just see Flat Earth and they're like, look at these nutters. And it's like, they're not. they're advocating for truth.
But here's the funny part about it, though. Flat Earth, to me, already has its own kind of built-in advertising because everybody's heard of Flat Earth, and at least that theory of. And you would think maybe that would take off because people are aware and they're seeking it out. I don't know anybody who's been like, hey, you guys want to talk about shin splints? You guys want to sit around, smoke a bunch of weed, drink a bunch of beer, and talk about shin splints for 4 hours? No, there's a billion assholes. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the internet's saturated with flat earthers, and so there's too many factions. There's nobody talking about shin splints, not the way the Shin Splints Recovery Group does it.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think while we're on this whole whiteboarding / idea pitching / selling something, maybe this is the opportunity for a rebranding, if you will, for the Flat Earth Science. Alan, you could pitch a few names. You could say, hey, look, guys, I think the problem is your followers are dwindling because they're only reading the first 3 words. You came out with Flat Earth Science. Advocates for truth. Yeah. We got to marry these somehow.
Yeah. I think you just flip it, honestly. I think let's not reinvent the wheel here.
Okay.
Let's just streamline its design,
Advocates for truth. Flat Earth Science.
Yeah.
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 That's actually brilliant.
Yeah.
Written
Because
by-
I would say, my brain says that flat Earth science is the science of finding out the truth about flat or round Earth.
Yeah.
Maybe
Hey, and,
Just as a basic, overview.
and you guys, Murray, you just brought up this idea about grown men or grown people, for that matter, talking about shin splints for hours at a time while getting stoned and drinking beer. Could you guys talk about shin splints for 30 seconds while I go get a bottle opener?
Yeah.
Because I think better during Fun Fact Friday without a beer.
I mean, I definitely can, because I also don't think that the beer
keep
drinking,
going.
weed smoking community is shin splints. Is the shin? There's not a lot of cross in the Venn diagram of fucking
Now
shin
you-
splints sufferers and
Well-
avid beer drinkers and weed smokers.
Okay, you're not wrong, but there is a fabulous TikTok channel where this guy eats increasing values of edibles and goes for runs, and then and films himself
That's
and documents his paranoia running through strange neighborhoods. It's quite the hoot.
That's amazing.
This guy looks like a GQ model who's trying to stay in shape,
Yeah.
and he's like, I know these people don't judge me, but I feel like they're all staring at me and think I should not be in this neighborhood. I think I ate way too much.
I ate way too much of this.
But I didn't follow his page, so I haven't found him since. So when I do find him, that will be another follow for the middle class holes on TikTok. Wes, guy jogs around town, eats varying levels of edibles. No word if he's received shin splints during his runs.
Fair enough.
So let's get to it. 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday. Let's get to your mental floss. Amazing facts. Did you know? When you hear your knuckles cracking, it's not bone. It's gas bubbles bursting inside the synovial fluid between the bone. And no, it won't give you arthritis, though Harvard Health Publishing says that it causes injury and reduces grip strength.
Wait, what was that? Sorry, I was reading something.
When you crack your knuckles, it's not the bone. It's actually gas buildup, and it's popping it through the fluid.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, those get me.
Yeah, the neck ones are fucking wild.
Yeah, I did know it was. Yeah, I did know. I knew that it wasn't bone. I know it's gas buildup. That's just basically like popping that gas bubble. I actually read when I was working over at the University of Maryland. Someone had put out a study where they only cracked one hand for 30 years and didn't crack the other, and it found no no ill or breakdown or deterioration or any strength versus one versus the other.
Now, I will say, immediately after getting a good, joint crack going, I do feel, a little bit weaker in that area momentarily. But within 30 seconds, it's no, we're fine. We're fine here.
Right.
We just adjusted something in there, and it's settling, and here we are. Where did that come from? Is that just, because it sounds bad? Was that just, a parent that's just, knock that shit off? I'm going to make up a reason that you shouldn't do that, or I'll ground you?
yeah, man, I don't know. Alan, you got a theory on a folklore like that? This is almost like a Nostradamus type thing.
Well, was it? Sorry.
Like why people? I'm going to just say the golden generation. People who had, kids from the 50s to the 70s said that that's your one that's bones cracking when you do that, and it'll cause arthritis. It'll cause
Probably. You like it's like all of those fucking old timey things that the like 60 and over crowd now still kind of throw out there. There's old wives' tales.
Right.
Like it was just ways to control your children. You know what I mean? It's like don't masturbate, you'll go blind. Like what? Shut the fuck up.
Don't sit too close to
Science doesn't
television.
even make sense there. Like they're not even connected, sir. Like how is that possible?
You know what's amazing about the screen time with the eyes? Like, one of the pediatricians, like, I was like, yeah, he uses the iPad fairly often, but like, I was like, it's mostly educational stuff. So I was like, and the guy's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, what about his eyes? He's like, oh, well, I mean, you do want to get him outside so he really develops some good distance sight, but he's like, honestly, it just strengthens his nearsightedness. So if you want him to be a good reader, yeah, using the iPad's probably good.
Yeah.
It's like, really? That's the exact opposite of all fucking bullshit parent science that's been told for the last fucking 50 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is a good friend of mine who went to Catholic schools all through grade school and in college. Well, Georgetown, I think Georgetown's a Catholic school. Either way, went all boys Catholic school, and I guess the one of the teachers was like, if you they're going through like a quasi sex ed. He said, if you touch yourself and you masturbate, of course you're going to internal damnation. He said the guy in front of him passed out. Oh.
There's another good TikTok channel where some guy goes around BYU, Brigham Young University, and fucking interviews these kids there.
Yeah.
Those are wild. Like one of the peering questions is, have you ever watched a rated R movie? And just to see someone go like, once. Like, what? Whoa. Really?
Whoa.
Like, bless you for your innocence and all, but good God, what do you know about the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little wild.
What do you know about humor? There's a real good movie called Hot Shots. You should watch that.
There's a part deux, as a matter of fact. It's fantastic.
I just remember when it was when one of the wars was breaking out. I don't know, maybe it was Afghanistan or whatever. And I was on the air, and the big news story was that they were training children as young as 6, and it's like these these kindergartners with like, I don't know, AK-47s. And I just remember thinking like, that kid is getting a different education than our kids, and it may not be the worst thing in the world to teach our kids some barbaric shit. Because if one day shit goes down, little homeboy in Yemen is going to be much better prepared than little homeboy in fucking Georgetown.
Yeah. I don't know how. You're better off just spinning a wheel for, five nights a week, 4 months in a row. Hold on. I was going to say, there was probably 12 or 13 years ago, BYU had a decent basketball team. They had like a guy, Jimmer Fredette, who became a lottery pick.
Right. I forgot
There
about
was a guy from that team, and they got a 2 seed, I think. He got suspended for the tournament because it was revealed that he had received a blowjob. Yeah, and he wasn't the best player, but he was a big guy who averaged close to a double-double. It's a lot of rebounds, man. It's a big man in the paint, smashing some people, blocks, rebounds, fouls, and they just like, no, sir. You performed an dastardly deed. You're gonna have to sit out your team's most important games of the season.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we need those folks.
It happens.
We need a moral center,
Yeah, I guess.
but not a basketball center. Did you know King Henry VIII, who was born on June 28th in 1491, was an accomplished composer who published several songs and instrumental works during his lifetime. He even had a collection of 76 recorders, the flute-like instrument that many kids are forced to take up in elementary school. His, of course, were made of wood and ivory and not plastic.
Did not know that.
How do you know someone else didn't write them?
That's a fair point.
How do you know
But
that didn't?
I just find it fascinating whenever I hear like there was like, musicals written on this infernal, dastardly instrument that no child that I ever heard was able to play. Even the best kid in class, like the A+ student, could not hit a fucking note on that without hitting that. Like there was nobody that could use a recorder without squealing, which is why I do find it fantastic when I see somebody playing that shit on like YouTube. I'm like, wow, they're really good at that terrible instrument.
You can make music out of it.
Make the note that the impala makes when it gets bitten by the jaguar. That's the one. A+. Look at him. He's talented.
I still giggle every time I hear somebody play the Titanic theme song like out of tune on that fucker. God.
Playing hot cross buns. That was always like a litmus test as to whether or not you could clog the holes correctly. Read it out. Play a note or two.
First thing you're taught to do with a recorder.
I was really good at Mary Had a Little Lamb. I gotta admit.
See, you also seem like the type that then broke into you and Tom just like smashed him over one another. Like, yeah, see, we're wrestlers. I'm Ultimate Warrior. He's savage.
I just remember the first thing anybody did, the first thing that the asshole kid who got the back seat on the bus would do was pull like the recorder apart so it was just the mouthpiece and then just blow into it as hard as humanly possible and watch everybody on the bus duck and cover like they were in a 1950s air raid video.
Yeah. This reminds me of this is a good father-son moment. So I'm like Saturday afternoon, maybe Sunday afternoon, after the old man it's definitely Sunday because he had plowed through about 3 hours of the old Yankee workshop. That's what was on in the living room. No one's changing the fucking channel. Go to your bedroom if you want to watch it. So I watched a little bit, and it dumped into some like young boys bird calling or duck calling competition where they couldn't use an instrument. They only had to use their own God-given vocal cords, tongues, and mouths. And this is just like extreme close-up with that shitty PBS lens. It was like, and I just started chuckling. And my dad made me feel he's like, that kid works really hard. He practices more than you ever practiced anything in your fucking life. Don't you ever laugh about that. I was like, God damn, man.
He's terrible.
Why don't you just call him why don't you just make him your kid? Make him your son.
That's not what ducks sound like.
And I bet like later that evening, it's like him and Cecil sitting around a fire, just like, yeah, I ruined fucking Wes's childhood. I told him he was a piece of shit because he couldn't call like a duck.
Because you guys watching?
This kid fucking up a duck call.
What were you guys watching? Oh, just some douches doing duck calls. I don't know.
Terrible. It gets sounded like a fucking dove. I think that's a dove call.
No kid of mine doing that.
Did you know? Oh boy, cacagerosis, which is another word for body odor, derives from the Greek and translates to bad sweat.
Cacagerosis.
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 No, how do you spell it?
That sounds like something.
Cacaidrosis. Cacagerosis? Cacagerosis.
Slang term for something in baseball. I don't know if you turn a really good double play.
Well,
look at that cacagerosis out there.
Isn't caca in Greek like shit? So like to me like basically shit sweat. Like you smell like shit. Which is maybe where all this comes from. I love the ancient languages because they're right. They're fucking on the nose. They mean what they mean.
Caca. You certain about that? The only reason I say that is because I just sometimes say caca to be funny with no context whatsoever.
It's a Spanish way of saying it too.
Yeah, and it all derives from Greek. So I just know that caca in some language definitely means shit.
Okay.
Usually Alan's right on this.
And derosis.
Yeah, I mean in Spanish it's definitely shit.
Okay.
Like it's like a nice way. It's like a poop, if you wanna.
But were you and your old man watching the old Yankee Workshop and he yelled at you too? Caca, get the hell out of here!
Don't be making caca sounds, goddammit. No. Yeah. It's like in Spanish it's more like poop instead of shit. You know what I'm
but
saying?
but I mean, but it's shit. Okay, let's
Yeah.
be honest. Poop is shit.
Yeah.
He called the shit poop. Sorry. Okay. Did you know the first recorded usage of the phrase Cold War in reference to relations between the U.S. and the Soviet Union can be traced back to George Orwell, who was born on June 25th, 1903. It appeared in his 1945 essay, You and the Atom Bomb, which was written 2 months after the bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Damn. I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
I'm well aware of what Cold War was, but did not know that was, they pinpointed it down to that just sounds, Cold War just sounds like it's something that grows over time. You know what I mean? That was bam, that was spot on. The guy knew when he was coming up with that word, that term.
But like George Orwell, homeboy was like a fucking fortune teller. He was like a Nostradamus. Now I can't even say the word right. I can't even say the guy's name. Nostradamus.
Nostra Cacadorosis.
Nostradamus.
Yeah, he was a very forward-looking man. Like coined Cold War, the surveillance state, Big Brother, all that. I mean these are all coined by this one man.
Yeah.
Wes, did you just get a report off the wire?
Yeah, I sure did. No, I actually had this makeshift. It's like a manila envelope with painter's tape that goes over this air conditioning valve that's right by the computer. And if I don't cover it up, you guys will hear it. But I think this round of masking tape's losing its painter's tape is losing its stickiness, losing its caca de rosa, if you will.
That painter's tape, the notoriously extremely adhesive and painter's tape.
I think first of all, I'm renting, so if I felt bad if I were to really strap up some duct tape up there when we move out, ooh, damn.
Should just use masking tape.
You know what though? Just the fact that they call it painter's tape, I don't think I've ever met a painter who uses that tape.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I've never seen a professional use the blue tape to do anything. They just don't use it. It's not even a thing that they do. They're so good, they just don't need it. And then I've tried using it, and the paint always bleeds underneath of it and leaves these little fucking ripples in whatever I'm doing. It doesn't come off clean. It's bullshit. It's 3M and they're fucking mongoloid assholes at their fucking board meeting. Let's just use less stickiness and we'll call it painter's tape because it comes off easy, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's similar to the board meeting about whether or not Vanna needs to be on the show or whatever, right? It's the same people. All right, next we're moving on from Wheel of Fortune. Next, painter's tape. Well.
I should do the anti Shark Tank, where an idea, a patented idea comes in that's already on market, and I tell them why it should be removed.
Yeah, we need to trim the fat around here with some of this.
That could be a fucking very funny thing to record separately.
It would just a lot of it would just be me leaning in on my knees, going, "But why? Why? Why do you exist?
Yeah.
What is your purpose? Explain it to me."
Murdrew Anstein, the Cacadorosa of Tank Shark. Print it.
It's a very official title.
And finally, did you know the word fossil can be traced to the Latin term for fossus, which means dig up, which also This is the portion of the show where I get drunk and don't have my glasses on. That was also fossil's original. I'm sorry. Let me just start this one over. The word fossil can be traced to the Latin term for fossus, which means dig up. That was also fossil's original meaning when it emerged around the 1600s. It began to mean preserved remains in 1736. That's wild to me. Just the timeline there, because if we dug up a fossil from the 1600s, it would still be wow, that's an old piece. That's something that's old. Imagine the shit they were finding in the 1600s, how old that shit was. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What didn't they? I think I read somewhere that anyone who was living during Washington and then maybe the next couple presidencies didn't even know dinosaurs existed.
The first dinosaur fossil was discovered after Washington's death. So that means that George Washington was never aware of the existence of dinosaurs.
Yeah. That's wild. That's really wild. Yeah. You know, and I come to think of it, I went to middle school and high school with a guy who said that was all bullshit. That was a conspiracy. That
What was a conspiracy?
archaeologists were that dinosaurs never existed. Archaeologists were constructing these fake bones and just so they could get rich.
I mean, I think there was a point where, like, okay, when I was a kid, there was like Brachiosaurus, there was Tyrannosaurus, there was like Allosaurus, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, wait a second, there was a Bigfoot in between Allosaurus and Tyrannosaurus, and he was called Jimbosaurus, and Jimbosaurus. Now he had longer arms, okay, but he had a shorter jaw. So he wasn't quite as terrifying. He could just grab you and shake you and make you cry. Like
Yeah.
they just made shit up.
Yeah.
Because there was money to be made, but the dinosaurs were real.
And this is the Kakasaurus that Uli was trying to stab. He was probably a hunter forager.
I'd sent you guys that Rick and Morty bit. The Grindosaurs.
The dinosaurs. They like to ride half pipes.
He's like they rode mostly street, but some vert. It's just total guesses.
This is where they used to do for the communal soup.
Yeah. The basket sores, I think, was the soup bowl.
Oh, and that, my friends, is your fun fact Friday.
All right, folks. Well, hey, listen. Next week the middle class holes are off. We'll get to that. We're going to do a best of first half 2023. Tune in for that. But we don't want to forget that the 4th of July, which some 4th of July lovers are really, really offended that 3 weeks ago, Juneteenth was celebrated. And I was actually getting a kick out of when I was editing last week's show. And I think both of you were going over like, you mean we gotta celebrate freedom after we celebrate freedom? Fuck that. This is so 4th of July is coming up. Enjoy your 4th of July. Be safe. Be patriotic. Get drunk. Be merry.
Happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday, America. And happy birthday, Andrew Murr.
Thank you.
Happy 44?
Yes.
Is it on the
Beautiful.
4th?
It's
No.
today.
Oh,
Today.
it's today. Well, happy birthday.
That's right.
Thank you.
Oh, shit.
Send him
Not-
gifts, man. Send him. We'll give the address out. Send him whatever you got.
Yeah.
Tell you where
Stuff.
Tell you
You got
where
a
I
P-
work.
You got a PO box?
Bags of turds in them. Boxes of turds.
No. Wait. Caca de Rosa. All right.
Yeah. Those exploding glitter bombs. Send them a couple of those bad boys.
Here's how I know that caca means shit, by the way, as far as this is concerned. Because that means there's got to be a good version, right? If that means bad sweat, what means good sweat?
TT?
Baby.
No,
feel like I just-
TITI.
I feel like I went a little too hard on that argument. I apologize. Tell me this fact.
Give me the Greek for that's
Good?
anonym for caca.
Like
PP?
Pipi de Rosa?
I'm just making shit
That
up.
sounds like a guy who plays like shortstop for like the Mets or something.
PP de Rosa. Yeah, that's right. That's
He's batting 260 right now, but I'll tell you what, he's a speed demon on the path.
Turn
PP
that-
DeRosa.
He can turn that 643. He's got that 643 down. No, what's the opposite? Come on, caca. Caca is to PP as blank is to good.
No.
Anyway, moving on. This
All
doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Enjoy, as I was saying, enjoy your 4th of July. Be merry, be jolly, be patriotic. Swim, dance, whatever. Karaoke.
Don't blow a finger off.
Don't blow a finger off. And yes, folks, this is from Men's Health. This is the worst firework and or explosive accidents on the 4th of July. And listener or viewer discretion, some of these aren't exactly funny. Some of these are actually like, ooh. So for instance, and it's not a list, it's just anonymous quotes that were sent in by medical professionals, mostly nurses. So I had a 9-year-old lose an eye a few weeks ago. An older kid shot a bottle rocket at him, and the bottle rocket hit him in the eyelid. The globe ruptured from the explosion. I had to pack an eye gauze on it. I pack a gauze on the eye in an attempt to keep the rest of the globe together, but it was pretty obvious the eye was a total loss. The older kid was prosecuted for the incident.
No shit.
So again,
Wow.
I can't stress enough that we probably have 4 more to go, and none of them are exact. Oh, actually, one
Like,
of them
you really
funny.
started off hot there. Is that the softest one?
Well, let me tell you something. So as an adult, I hadn't done a lot of fireworks shopping until I had a child. Because before that, it's like people provided you with fireworks, or we didn't care about our own safety if we had them in our hands. So I had bought what I thought were Roman candles. Well, apparently they make those nice sky bursting fireworks in tube form. And so I was going to get them and hold them in my hands and be like, "Bah!" and like fire them at the family in the backyard, because that's what you do for fun. But before I did, I just wanted to do a tester, and I put it in the ground, and that motherfucker was just like mortar rounds inside of a Roman candle tubing. So I can see how people make the mistake, because I would have killed at that time a 5-year-old child had I aimed it at him.
Well, speaking of which, a friend of a family was a spectator at a city event. My assumption is, we do one here in Baltimore. Other cities are probably the same. You meet somewhere, in an open area. They shoot them off in the inner harbor here. But I digress. Friend of a family was at a spectator's event. A firework misfired, went to the crowd, hit him square in the face before blowing up. Broke most of the bones in his face, lost one eye, suffered brain damage.
Oh, shit. Jesus.
Yeah, when I was reading these, I knew Alan was gonna. Jesus,
That's crazy, man.
I just want to pause and remind everybody how hilarious this is.
this is so funny, so funny. I helped with this one as an intern a while ago, so I'm assuming an intern at a hospital or something like that. Some drunk guy was holding a mortar tube and firing it off. Ended up turning towards him, so he put his hand over the tube, hopefully from stopping it coming out. Ended up blowing the majority of his hand off and burned a hole in his abdomen.
Well, talk about a twist.
Crazy, man. A hole in his abdomen?
Yeah,
Jesus, man.
this is
getting worse. I didn't think it was going to get worse than the first one, honestly.
Well, I mean, he's topped it.
It has definitely gotten worse.
I mean, it ain't brain damage, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Seriously, every year there's a bunch of fireworks and grill and kitchen fire accidents coming from something that could have been prevented or avoided if the people involved had just taken a few moments to realize what could go wrong with the idea. A recurrent one is someone setting off small fireworks in their hand. Open hand, little damage. Closed hand around the firework. Yeah, anywhere from a few fingers to a majority of hand gone. That's just someone generalizing. So,
Damn.
all right, this one lightens the mood a little bit. All right.
Let's hope so.
I had a patient who thought it would be funny to light their farts on fire while they were drunk. Their perineal area was scorched. Please
the
drink
gooch.
responsibly and be careful with flammable objects. There you go. Whew. That's not so bad. Trying to light my fart on fire. But why? Why is that? I mean, I think that coincidentally happened on the 4th of July. That wasn't something like, hey, 4th of July, wouldn't it be patriotic? Everyone watch. And then Jim Carrey it from Dumb and Dumber.
Hey, we're
That
out
was
of
like,
we're out of
hey,
fireworks. Not yet.
Hey, I've done that 1,000 times before this, and it's always funny. And I have a lot of people around at a barbecue, 4th of July. Watch. Oh, man. Oh, man. And then, Murr, you said, what is love at your 25th high school reunion? Baby, did I burn this? What's burnt? Baby.
Well, that just goes to show you, if you're gonna light your farts on fire, well, pregame, get a little shave on, okay?
Yeah.
Get the Manscaped out.
That was the one I can remember, a specific 4th of July. I was with my grandparents, my mom's parents in Iowa, and fireworks, they're illegal. But apparently, in at least then in the great state of Iowa, they kind of turned a blind eye on the 4th of July. They're like, hey, but don't get carried away. Don't start fucking just shooting at houses and trees and whatever. And yeah, our neighbor, or my grandparents' neighbors, was setting them off, it was relatively low scale, but a nice enough night for like 15, 20 people. And he had this like, oh, they call this a neighborhood waker upper. I don't know. I'm not really sold on it. And he lights it, and this thing, all it was a fucking bomb. There was no fireworks. There was no explosion. There was no glitter. There was no sparklers. There was no light. All it was a couple quarter sticks bound together inside of a box. And that thing, everyone just scattered. My grandparents ran inside in their 70s.
Nope.
Lock the door. Turn the lights off. The cops are coming. So,
Well,
anyhow.
I still have a video. Maria's got it on her iPad. She was filming the fireworks, and again, the mortar tube fell over, and that motherfucker just started firing at the house. And I mean, I'm talking like mortar rounds.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank God she had a sense of humor about it, because even on the tape, you can hear her like laughing as she's like slamming the door while fire is like bouncing off the house.
And correct me if I'm mistaken here, Wes, but wasn't there a period of time when mortars were shot off in Well 54?
Yeah, I mean, we used that. We had firework wars one year. And then, yeah, I mean, that's actually, we had a keg strategically placed in one part of the basement that was off limits, but you had to go through a little bit of a firing squad to get to the off limit zone. And one of the guys came out with a pillow like it was a goddamn shield, and that fucker caught on fire. Not bad, but enough like, oh! Everyone, pour beer on it. So, yeah.
Good
There
time.
was that. Potato guns. Chris, we tried to
BB
we tried to freeze part of the kitchen so we could have an ice hockey game. America, man. America.
College, higher
That's-
education, friends.
Yeah. Well, that is before you go, Alan, tell all the patriots, all the people who are just getting over the hangover, celebrating Juneteenth, or getting themselves ramped up for the 4th of July, where you
Yeah.
can listen to the middle class hosts.
Getting ready for Freedom Part 2, or Part 2, to stay on brand. Fucking yes, of course. You can find us, you good fucking God-fearing American patriots. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. We're at MDL Class Holes on Instagram and Twitter. We're the Middle Class Holes on Facebook and fucking TikTok and YouTube. And for your listening pleasures, check us out on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's right.
Oh, by the way, Wes, we had to pull down one of the TikTok videos. It was the one where William was looking for penises on the internets. Apparently, TikTok, I guess, found the word penis offensive. Compared to all the other bullshit we say on there, like that was the one. So that one got deleted just because it was a silent. It was a Charlie Chaplin video at that point.
Wow, they muted us. They're putting a muzzle on us.
Bad.
There's on page. We're speaking the. God, we're not speaking anything. We're speaking in tongues. We're speaking in cacadebrosis here.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Only one.
On the eve of 4th of July, too, these fucking fascists.
Stealing our freedom.
They're shit communists, right?
They
You
are
ain't-
actually.
that
They're
what
the
we call
Chinese
them?
government. They are communists, actually.
You commies ain't ever laughed at a banana penis. That's like asking someone at BYU if they ever saw an R-rated movie. You go to a communist country, like, hey, you ever seen the banana penis? Like, one time. Don't tell anybody.
That's an isolated clip
Hail,
right there.
Hail Hydra.
You communists ever seen a banana penis?
Only one comment this week. This comes from getting real in depth with your family, Murr. This is talking about the beauty of childbirth, where you to describe your wife having a C-section. Jenna, who's a friend of ours, who's a high school graduate of mine, says, thankfully that doesn't happen to everyone, but I've heard they're quick and discreet. In the moment, you don't care about much. So just kind of like reiterating that.
Oh,
one,
that was
maybe-
the soft serve cleanup that Alan was speaking to.
Oh, was that what it was? I thought it had to do
Yeah.
with your wife's guts being on a side table.
No. That had to do with Alan's like, yeah, soft serve. Imagine squeezing out the hardest pee you've ever had. There's going to be a little something coming out. And yeah, so apparently there is imagine that, man. I mean, you got to be the lowest level nurse on the fucking floor that day.
Get that
Right. you're happy to clean up abdomen burns and blown up faces from the 4th of July after you've wiped shit from childbirth.
I wonder if they like dubbed that person, "Hey, you're the Dairy Queen. You got here on self-serve duty today."
Damn, I hope somebody calls her that. Or him.
Yeah, you're right. That could go both ways. Well, either way, folks, enjoy your 4th of July. Next week, we're going to be out. We'll have a best of the first half. And then next week, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing a few bits to be determined. But one that we know of is Alan's Good Bad Movie of the Month, Private Resort, 1985, Johnny Depp. Need we say more? Need we say more?
No, not at all.
Hot chicks in the 80s, string bikinis that aren't thong bikinis.
Hector Elizondo, hijinks. It's going to be great. It's got something for everyone.
I actually don't think I've ever seen this movie, so I don't know if I'm looking forward to watching it.
Oh, I think you are.
Okay.
As bad as its ratings are, I think you'll get a kick out of like one watch. You don't need multiple watch throughs, but
see, Alan's had a topsy-turvy. We got the chairman of the board, and then he realized that he had to rebound really hard, and we got the Adventures of Power, which got resounding reviews from the middle class holes. Check it out if you haven't seen it. So anyway, 2 weeks. Enjoy your holiday, folks. Be safe. Don't blow your dicks or your taints off or your fingers or your faces. Just light the fuse and fucking run, okay?
You know what? Get your cousin to do it.
Yeah. Get that cousin. Get that one cousin that you don't mind if he's not around anymore. You know,
or if he doesn't have a hand, not so bad, right?
Yeah, you know. No, he's actually so much of a dick that he uses that to his advantage. Like, I'm only one-handed. Needs help. Yeah. Everything.
So is it great for the rest of your life?
Can't play third base in the softball team anymore.
Yeah, man.
Good night, folks.
Might be on as fuck. I'm still riding like a pup. I fell down, but my dick's still up.
Well, sometimes I may need a hand when I'm just too drunk to stand. I don't need your sympathy, keep your judgment too. 'Cause you just give it a little pull, and my dick's strong like bull, ready to satisfy my woman whole night through.
I get drunk most every day. Everyone knows Scooter is a gay. Might be on his fuck.